welcome to another Books and Things with Tom. And today I have a very special guest. It's an honor to have her here, Margaret Jones, who is Executive Director for the Denison Pequotsepos Nature Center. And that's a mouthful, but so is the Nature Center. And I can call you Maggie.
You can call me Maggie. Everybody does.
Because that's what we know you by. I know when I was a kid, we used to go to the Nature Center, and it was just such a pleasure to see all the animals and the fish and the frogs and the turtles.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that. You think it might even be the same one.
Yeah, you said you used to see a big turtle in the pond there?
Yeah. Turtles
can live a long time. Wouldn't surprise me a bit. It might be even bigger now than when you were a kid, but yeah.
That's great. Well, I'm glad to have you here, and the Pequotsepos has been in the news lately for a lot of different things, and especially the Coogan Boulevard.
The Coogan Farm. Yeah.
Which is a beautiful piece of land, I understand.
It's a beautiful piece of property, and the Nature Center acquired it back in September last year, not quite a year ago, and we've been working hard to get the trails ready. We're going to have a grand opening at the Coogan Farm in September this year. But what a wonderful resource that's going to be for the whole public. It's really a public park, and it creates really our region's first greenway, so that we have open space. It interconnects to Avalonia Land Conservancy property and Denison family land, and some conservation easements that the Nature Center owns, so that we have now well over 300 acres of interconnecting trails that link from really the Mystic Middle School and the Nature Center to different neighborhoods like Seaport Heights and business commercial areas over at the Aquarium and Old Mystic Village and McQuaid's, all the way to Greenmanville Avenue. So the Coogan Farm is sort of hidden in plain sight, and most people drive right by it without realizing it's there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right near Seaview Snack Bar across the way, at the end of the Elm Grove Cemetery.
Yeah.
And you walk back into the Coogan Farm, and it takes you back in time. It's just an amazing property with really spectacular views over the Mystic River, and it's just a wonderful place to take a walk and kind of escape from busy Mystic.
How many acres did you pick up there?
We picked up an additional 45 acres there.
45. So
we now, with all the Avalonia land and Nature Center and Denison land, it's a pretty considerable amount of open space.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
If you've never been there, you really should go, because this place is filled with magic for kids.
It is, and the combination, what the Coogan Farm will do for the Nature Center and for the whole community, really, the future generations will thank us, I think. We're actually celebrating Connecticut Trails Day this Saturday, June 7th.
Okay.
And we'll be having a hike from the Nature Center to the Coogan Farm. So it's a way, anyone that's interested in learning how do you get to the Coogan Farm from the Nature Center, if you meet at the Nature Center at 10 o'clock, you'll find out. And it's a really pleasant walk through varied habitats, and you can't believe how close it is. So close and yet so far. It's a really special place.
Unbelievable.
And that's a free walk, actually. It's part of Connecticut Trails Day.
Now, you're not planning any buildings or anything on it?
Well, the property came with a couple of historic buildings. There's the old butcher shop, the old sort of white barn, and the old Coogan farmhouse, which was actually built by the Greenman brothers back in the 1840s. So
really?
They're both historic buildings, and at least the plan of the hour is that we'll renovate those buildings to accommodate some of our different programs and staff needs. We've got a lot of great ideas, and we're working with architects and finalizing some of those ideas now. But I think the current thinking is that we would keep both that barn and the house.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, the house next door doesn't go with it, right?
No, that is now, you're thinking of Ed Coogan's old house.
Yes.
That is now a daycare center.
Oh, really?
So that's in full operation. So how lucky are they to have a nature preserve right next door? So
yeah, take them next door.
Absolutely.
That's super.
We've been clearing some land there. We've been using a heritage breed of pigs to clear some of our land. We're going to be doing a giving garden with United Way. And so that's been an attraction in and of itself, people coming out to watch the pigs doing their job there on the land, and including the kids from that little nursery school. They have a good time coming over and watching what's going on.
Oh, wow. Now, let's talk about Denison Pequotsepos. I'm new in the area, and I went in there, and what am I going to do?
Well, there are things that go on there all year round. We're a year-round nature center. We're only closed a couple of days of the year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Um, and it's the wonderful thing about a nature center. I think it doesn't really get stale because it changes with not just the seasons, but day to day. So today was a rainy day at the nature center, and you see different things in the rain than you do on a beautiful dry summer day, so there are all kinds of wonderful things to see. When you first come into the nature center, you can go through our exhibits, and those will introduce you to some of the wildlife and habitats of southeastern Connecticut, so you get a sense of what you might expect to see when you're out on the trails. And then really our exhibits are what's outside, and we have about 10 miles of interconnected trails through a variety of habitats, so you can see many different species of birds depending on the time of year, most of our most common native mammals, and wonderful wildflowers. This spring has been spectacular for different wildflowers, so it's just never the same twice.
I know I took my grandson there, and I was telling you that you're in there, and there's that dark room, and he was scared to death.
The night in the meadow.
Yeah, until the lights came on, and that's so fascinating.
That's one of our biggest attractions, and kids do that, especially very young children. Sometimes they're a little nervous with that, but once they do it once, they want to do it over and over again.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave the room.
Yeah, it takes you into of course, we have exhibits that were renovated back in the early 90s. And, or actually, no, late 90s, those were renovated. So they're about 10 years old now, or more than that, 12 years old. It was early 2000s that we finished that. And it takes you into our meadow after the sun goes down. Our evening and night programs are very popular. And so kids love that night in the meadow, and so do grown-ups, to go inside there and see what might you see when the sun goes down in the meadow, and the fireflies and the different sounds that you hear and things like that.
Yeah. It's great for both kids and grown-ups.
Yeah.
And you can talk to the kids afterwards, and if they really want to learn more, it's so easy to keep going back, and you have summer camps.
Yeah, and actually that's one of the sort of stereotypes about nature centers that we're really working to overcome, is that it's not just for kids. I think the word nature center, you picture children with their little microscopes chasing after ants and bugs, and that's what a nature center is. Yeah. And it really is a place where certainly families can have fun together, but we do a lot of programs for adults as well. So after all the school programs, and we can talk about some of the specific programs. We've got our summer nature camp coming up. We do a lot of, and are doing more of, adult programming. So we just did a foraging walk a couple weeks ago with Ava Chin, who's the New York Times urban forager, and we went out. We had a group of about 50 people foraging for wild edibles. We're going to be doing a follow-up to that this summer called, whatever you do, don't eat that. So that's going to be coming, I think, in August. We have the Pequotsepos hikers, and it's really a walking group, and we meet a couple of times a month to go to a different place. A lot of our programs take place off-site, so not everything happens at the Nature Center. We do birding trips. In fact, tomorrow morning at the Groton Open Space Association's Avery Preserve, right at the end of Lambtown Road, we're going to be having a birding walk there tomorrow morning. So.
And there are going to be birdies there this week?
Oh, this is the peak time for spring birds. And you can find out about all of our programs on our website. So dpnc.org is the website for the Nature Center.
Okay.
And we actually just launched a new website a couple of weeks ago, and so you can register for programs online and find out about everything that we do right on that website.
Good idea. And you also have this.
Yeah, this is our newsletter, The Chickadee, and the Nature Center is and always has been a member-supported organization. So we have about 1,500 members, and we're always looking for more. It's really a critical aspect to keeping the Nature Center vibrant and active in our community, is to have members that participate and support our organization. So.
Now,
and it's a bargain to be a member of the Nature Center.
I was just going to say that as a nonprofit, because we can't do commercials on this show because this is a free TV, but as a nonprofit, how much are the dues?
So the Nature Center family membership is $50, and we have different members. A couple is $30, and we have a senior membership. But you can come to the Nature Center as often as you like. You get special discounts on programs as a member. You get a across-the-board 15% discount on almost all of our programs. Summer Nature Camp is really a bargain for members. And you also get a discount. We have a wonderful little Nature Center store. In fact, our store has its own Facebook page. The Nature Center has a Facebook page, but our store also has a Facebook page.
I didn't know that.
We have all kinds of really interesting things in our little store. It's a special spot.
So they are very easy to join, and it's helping a nonprofit organization, which obviously needs a lot of help.
Yeah.
Excuse me, because how many people do you have working there?
Well, we have about 20 people year-round, and then that more than doubles in the summertime when we do our summer nature camp.
Okay.
And of course, the funds, most of the funding that we bring in for programs and things don't really cover the costs that we have associated with running a nature center. You know, we do a lot with wildlife rehabilitation, and there's no revenue stream that supports that. So, you know, the town and individuals from throughout southeastern Connecticut bring injured birds and other animals to us to take care of. And so that's also an important aspect of what we do in the community.
You know, it's interesting because you drive up to the nature center and you got this little building, and you think, there's not much here.
Yeah.
And yet everything is so expansive out in the
Yeah,
back.
well, you walk in and it sort of opens up when you go down the
it
stairs,
does.
and then, you know, just as I mentioned before, it's really what's outside the building that I think is what it's all about.
And then you were talking earlier about the Peace Sanctuary, which is part of the...
Well, one of the interesting things with the Coogan Farm, and one of the reasons that we were so interested in making sure that the Coogan Farm was preserved, is that not only does the Coogan Farm physically link to the nature center, but when you're on the Coogan Farm and, you know, on one of those high meadows looking across the Mystic River to the west, you look directly over at the Peace Sanctuary. And the Peace Sanctuary is a private nature preserve that the Nature Center manages. And so we do programs over there, and that's actually sort of a special benefit of membership, is that you have access to the trails at the Peace Sanctuary.
Gets complicated.
Yeah, Mystic is a special place, and I think that to have places like the Nature Center and the Coogan Farm and the Peace Sanctuary that will forever be open spaces for residents and visitors to enjoy is one of the things that makes our town so special. And
Absolutely.
you know, when we were acquiring the Coogan Farm, initially it was all about protecting sort of the integrity of the Nature Center and the wildlife, and it's got some habitat there that is becoming increasingly rare in southeastern Connecticut. It's where the country meets the coast meets the country, and the country meets the coast, and so there's that whole aspect of it. You know, those kind of coastal preserves are becoming harder and harder to find. But it really is the backdrop to downtown Mystic. So when you're on the bridge and you're looking to the north, it's the Coogan Farm that you see behind the Charles W. Morgan, and although not this week, not this month, but it's the backdrop to the seaport anyway. And so keeping that forever as a natural backdrop, I think, is an important part of protecting the whole sense of place that we all know, those of us that grew up in Mystic, sort of associate with Mystic as a very iconic little coastal town.
Yeah.
So.
And it's so well hidden, and I don't think half the people know about the Denison Pequotsepos sitting up there. And
yeah, that's even more hidden than the Coogan Farm. That's right. Yeah, right off Pequotsepos Road, but yet very close. And once you start to realize that you can actually walk from the Nature Center to the aquarium, to the seaport,
it's really not that far.
It's not far at all. It's 10 or 15 minutes to walk from the
And then
Nature Center to Greenmanville.
And you got Denison Homestead across the street.
Denison Homestead across the street, and they're open this time of year. They're open on weekends, so I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday,
right.
Friday through Monday, something like that.
And that's interesting. I'll dress in period. And then
Well, it's very interesting. You know, the history, the Denison Homestead dates back to the 1600s. The homestead itself was built in the 1700s, but that land was given to George Denison back in the 1600s at the same time as what we now know as the Coogan Farm was given to John Gallup back in the 1640s. And so we have these two historic farms that are now sort of managed by the Nature Center. Just sort of sandwiching all this wonderful open space in between and all around.
it's amazing that it never got commercialized.
It truly is amazing to have really these intact cultural landscapes, and Stonington has a lot of that, so does Groton, where we still have beautiful old stone walls and foundations, and a walk through the Coogan Farm or through the Denison Homestead is really a walk into the past, and it's incredible that you can read the landscape in lots of different ways, and wonderful opportunities as we continue to develop our programs and things around that.
Yeah. And today, a lot of people are generously selling or giving the property away to the
Avalonia,
Avalonia,
yes.
and you.
And Groton Open Space. Yeah, I would say, having been at one time quite and still involved with Avalonia, and I work closely with the Groton Open Space Association and other land trusts. Land is not given away quite so cheaply anymore. I mean, I think those organizations work very, very hard to protect the areas that are in need of protection, and often they pay good money for them. And certainly that was the case with us with the Coogan Farm. That was, we had to work very hard to raise money to buy that property.
And the Davis Farm just sold off a
That's in the process, I think, of they're selling off a conservation easement. So it's a little bit different. The Davis Farm won't be a publicly accessible open space, but I think the plan is to preserve that. And again, it's wonderful on the Pawcatuck River side of Stonington. So you've got the Coogan Farm on the Mystic River and the Davis Farm on the Pawcatuck River. And these are very important places that have had an important role in the history of our communities. So
that's great. It's nice to see things like that being set aside so we can enjoy them.
Yeah, and we've got all kinds of great programs. Actually, the challenge and really the fun part now is to start incorporating the Coogan Farm into the different programs that we do with the Nature Center. So this summer, starting in June, we have a series of Friday night lights that it's going to happen at the Coogan Farm, and these are firefly walks that are for adults and families, and we think those will be sort of fun ways. They're free programs. People can come and we'll walk around the Coogan Farm and look for fireflies, and so we do a lot of fun seasonal sorts of programs.
That's good.
Yeah.
And we were talking about some of these programs. Summer solstice.
Summer solstice, yeah.
Solstice.
We're doing the summer solstice walk at Gunjiwamp.
Gunjiwamp, that's
and,
a word.
Gunjiwamp, anybody that's local has heard of Gunjiwamp, and and actually it has significance that goes way beyond the local area as just sort of one of those sort of enigmatic places. We don't truly understand all the things that Gunjiwamp is or was, but the stone structures there are intact, and there are a lot of really interesting places within the Gunjiwamp Preserve, and that piece of property is actually in the process of being transferred to the state of Connecticut. So the Nature Center has sort of been the guardian of Gunjiwamp for the past few years, and we lead regular programs in there, and so that's going to be on a Saturday on the summer solstice.
Oh, that's cool. And tell me about the mushroom.
The annual Wild Mushroom Festival. That's coming up at the end of September. This is our 13th annual Wild Mushroom Festival this year, and that's one of my favorite events in September at the Nature Center. We do it cooperatively with the Connecticut Valley Mycological Society, and so we usually start off with a mushroom foray in the morning for anyone that's interested. The Mycological Society leads that. And then, meanwhile, we're setting up at the Nature Center. We have lots of different restaurants that come and make special dishes with wild mushrooms, and then we invite people to come in and sample all these different wild mushroom dishes. It usually runs from 2 to 5, and I think it's September 28th. But you can check our website. We're just finalizing some of the details for that now. So
that's cool.
It's a great event.
I know I've been at the market. And you look over there, and there's not a place to park.
No, it's a very popular event because it's an opportunity for folks to sample some different species of mushrooms that, some of these things are very hard to find in supermarkets, and a lot of times folks want to know. It sort of goes hand in hand with the different foraging walks and things that we do. There's a real interest right now in, what can I pick out in my backyard, and what should I really watch out for? Well, it's not as dangerous as you might think. There are certain things that you just really can't mess up. But I think that's part of the educational role of the Nature Center, is to get people excited about that and to learn more about it and you know, a lot of the things that you pick on your own, it's like having your own vegetable garden. You know exactly what went into it, and you know, many of those green things that you can pick in the wild are a lot more nutritious than what you buy in the store.
Yeah, they haven't been boiled out and
That's right. Well, they
processed.
haven't had all kinds of pesticides and things sprinkled on them. So
Now, you're also doing a paddle.
we during the spring and summer season, we do a series of paddle trips.
Yeah.
And we've got several different ones coming up in June, and those will continue in July and August as well. And you can find out all about them on our website, dpnc.org.
You don't let things settle down too long.
No, there's always something going on in nature. I mean, you know, people say, "Oh, the summer it must be your busiest time." And I say, "Well, the summer's plenty busy, but you know, we do walks all winter long. We do cross-country skiing. I mean, you know, just the idea is to get people out in nature and enjoying it, and I think that's how people learn to appreciate and take care of our earth, is realizing what a special place it is, and it starts right at home.
And you have hiking trails everywhere.
We have hiking trails. I mean, southeastern Connecticut has wonderful hiking trails everywhere. So, as I mentioned, we don't feel constrained by the Nature Center and the Coogan Farm. We take our hikes all over the place, and we have so many fantastic nature preserves, land trusts that have thousands of acres locally with beautiful properties that have hiking trails. So we visit many of those different places, and you know, not just Mystic, Stonington, Groton, but we go out to Salem and Old Lyme, and we go across the border into Rhode Island. We go to some of the state parks, and so coming on some of our different programs is a great way to learn about the natural resources that we have in our community.
Wow. The firefly walks, those sound interesting.
Those are a lot of fun. Yeah.
Let's,
And we've also, you know, we've talked a lot about the adult programs. We haven't talked as much about the children's program, and actually our summer camp starts up next week. So June, what is that, the 9th is our first week of summer camp, and that runs all through the summer, ages 3 to 15.
Really?
So that's a fabulous program.
Yeah. And that's just a day, then I'll stay there.
For most children, it's either a day, or for some of the young ones, it's just a half-day program. But we have extended days for parents that work, they can drop their kids off early and pick them up late. And for some of the older kids, we have adventure camps that do include an overnight. So,
wow.
And they do all kinds of fun activities. And we've got a lot of specialty camps, you know, fishing camps and birding camps, and something for everybody, and that's all online as well.
Huh. Now, I think when I used to go up there, it was because of Boy Scouts, and I think we used to have to go up there to earn merit badges.
Oh, we still do that.
Yeah, you do?
We've had 3 Eagle Scout projects at the Coogan Farm just within the last not even a year. So we acquired the Coogan Farm in September, and since that time we've had 3 Scouts earn their Eagle badges at the Coogan Farm.
Wow.
So they've been helping us clear out the old foundations and put in trails and build bird boxes and all kinds of things. So the Scouts are important allies at the Nature Center.
I think I think I'm gonna have to go to your website and see what's coming up. I think what I'd like to do is be able to announce on the show different things coming up.
We can keep you posted as things
yeah.
come up. You know, we have a girls' nature night out on Saturday night, and that's a really fun thing. You know, special for girls. They get to spend the night at the Nature Center and do some fun things. It's a girls overnight, and that's going to be this Saturday.
And you have been there for 22 years.
22 years. I mean, I grew up in Old Mystic. I've lived here all my life. So, and I went to the Nature Center when I was a little girl. So.
Well, I haven't gone far either. That's great. Well, we appreciate you because I know what you do down there, and it's a lot of work, and but it's a type of work that you can see results from.
Well, you see results, and you know, I think, you know, when I started, I would have thought I would have burned out by now, but I have to say, one of the things that keeps it interesting is that it's never the same twice. I mean, there's no sort of, people say, what's a typical day there? It's like, there's no such thing. I mean, you never know what's going to either come walking or get brought in through the door of the Nature Center, or a call that you're going to get. And there have been lots of interesting opportunities through the years. And It's also, I really believe in the mission of the Nature Center, so.
Now, you mentioned something about bringing injured animals in. Do you have a vet that's...
We work with the New England Veterinary Hospital, Dr. Cindy Brown, very closely. She's an avian specialist, and so she's been incredible. I can't say enough good things about her. She works with, we get a lot of injured owls and hawks in particular. But we have a whole network of veterinarians that can help us out for different things. But New England Veterinary Hospital is our go-to vet, and how convenient they're, a minute away from us.
Wow, that's great. Well, the time's running out, and again...
How can that be?
I know. I want to thank you for being here. Coming up, we have the VFW in Pawcatuck has got another fish fry on June 13th, and then they have a Father's Day breakfast on June 15th. That's over in Pawcatuck. If you want a good meal, both meals are really great. The Denison Farmers Market has started up.
Yeah, that started up
That's
a
on
couple weeks
Sundays,
ago. Yeah. Every Sunday, noon to 3.
Noon to 3, and a lot of fresh vegetables and with no GMOs and everything on it. And my Kappa meeting, SE Kappa meeting, will be on June 16th, and that's going to be at somebody's house. We're doing a potluck dinner, and so everybody brings something good. And we have a guest speaker, and he's another author. And in July, we got another, the founder of Kappa will be coming down in July. And then in August, we're just going to have a picnic. And that'll be each one of those, I'm at somebody's house. Get them out, get everybody out of the buildings.
Great.
Can do fresh air down by the water. And I'll be happy to announce anything that you can send me.
Okay.
And I'll probably post it up here on the thing.
Great. We'll make sure we have the right contact information.
Yes. And a reminder about Connecticut Authors and Publishers. If you've written a book, you think you want to write a book, come see us. We might be able to help you and get you started on the program. Be sure to write me at my email address at santostom@comcast.net. And I think we're done. I'll see you next week. And don't forget, you should be reading, cuddle up with a good book, and have a safe week. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much, Tom.